Sustainability Karma, a podcast series on sustainable development, sustainability and ESG, or environmental, social and governance. In this podcast series with senior journalist and editor Rajiv Tikoo, a who's who of thought leaders from the government, private sector and civil society share their mantra for accelerating development in India and making the world a better place.
Welcome to this episode of Sustainability Karma. Our guest today is none other than Dia Mirza, the famous actress turned activist, is UN SDGs advocate for Sustainable Development Goals and UNEP's Goodwill Ambassador. She is not only the voice but also the face of the environmental causes in India and abroad. Welcome, Dia Mirza, to the show of Sustainability Karma. How was your US show?
I went to New York for the General Assembly after COVID for the first time. Going wrong, the fact that the SDGs are not on track, only 15% are on track, and there's just so much work to be done. It can feel very, very overwhelming. But the one thing that I always come away with when I go there is a deepened sense of purpose that really comes from the kind of people you get to engage with.
Right.
Whether it's the civil society organizations or it's the young people and the efforts they're making.
What is the sense you got at the General Assembly on SDGs?
I was going there on the heels of the culmination of the G20.
Right.
The Delhi Charter, the Delhi Declaration was so powerful, so all-encompassing. There's so much to celebrate about that. You know, as well as I think everybody else does, that the distance or the gap between the spirit of the written word and the action on the ground, that has to be covered, because it's all very nice to hear people say all the right things.
Right.
But we need to see that spirit embodied in every action across all, whether it is government or industry or the corporate sector or education. Everyone has to, and financial institutions, most important, need to change. We didn't see those commitments coming through as with the urgency and the immediacy that we need them to come through. We're still demanding action.
Right.
We're still hearing people talking about what they will do.
Right.
But very few people sharing about what has already been done.
Exactly.
And I think that in that aspect, India is making some very important strides in the right direction. Whether it comes to, whether it's in renewables or the Solar Alliance or some other areas. But there are many, many areas that we have to really step up on.
Right. From G20 to General Assembly and now to upcoming COP. So what would be your realistic expectations from COP?
The only expectation I think every citizen of the planet has right now is to hear our leaders not just making commitments in word, but representing actions on the ground. We can't keep hearing about things that will happen in 2030, 2050, 2060. We have to start seeing that now, because we are all witnessing the devastating crisis that climate is creating and pollution is creating. And we really need to change the way we operate. I mean, one of the things that I was fortunate enough to be a part of was a panel discussion on the plastic pollution and the declaration to end plastic pollution by 2050. And मैंने वहाँ पे यही सवाल पूछा. I said, we know that microplastics have entered the bloodstream of babies. They've entered our clouds. They've entered the food chain. They've entered breast milk and placenta. What is it going to take for corporations that mass produce so many items of daily use that all of us need, that are packaged in that plastic, and there is absolutely no accountability or responsibility for that packaging, when the solutions and the alternatives exist?
Right.
So, and just like that, I feel for many other aspects, I feel like there needs to be a much more strengthened pressure and conscience that starts reflecting in the choices large corporations are making.
So
basically, the way business has to change, and one really wonders, when will some people in ridiculously powerful positions discover for themselves, like when will their conscience awaken to the fact that it is their apathy, their greed, and their desire to make money at any cost that is not just killing people and children, but is our planet is dying because of.
And India has been one of the exceptional countries which has made some progress on SDGs, climate action, water and sanitation also. Now, how much is this story known abroad?
It's pretty well known, but I think it's also pretty well known that to truly achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, India has the most important role to play. Because of the density of our population, the fact that we are the most populous, but also because we have the skill sets, we have the innovation, we have the power and the mindset and the ability to really bring about change. Because if you actually look around you and you discover the incredible innovation that is happening by young people across the board, it's deeply inspiring.
And what role do you see for influencers like you in translating awareness into action at a mass level, at least?
Well, I think a very big part of what we do is to make the science accessible to people. Also to kind of, for me personally, I feel a very big part of what I do is engaging with young people and helping them recognize that while it may feel debilitating and the issue is much larger than we can even comprehend, we have it within us to bring about change in our immediate environment. And that really is all that should matter. We need to be focused on that, and we can't feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the problem. One of my heroes, Jane Goodall, says this so wisely, and it comes from years of working in advocacy, her wisdom. It says that everybody impacts change. The question you need to ask of yourself is, what kind of change do you want to impact? And doing good can start at home. It can start within your community. It can start within the immediate sphere of your influence. And then that is what has like a exponential effect. And that's all that should matter. Given
the ecosystem as it is now, what more do you think people like you can do to really catalyze action?
My efforts this year, in this coming year, are going to be very, very focused on mobilizing the film industry, the business of storytelling, towards adopting the Sustainable Development Goals and implementing the changes that they can. So far, some, not all, companies have become single-use plastics free. They're avoiding unnecessary, printing of paper. A lot of the work is happening online and through digital platforms. Waste is being managed better, but we have to do much more. So I'm really going to focus on how we can make the soft power that the entertainment industry is into a genuinely committed space for, earth action and environmental action.
Personally, you're also into green businesses. Is it as profitable as other businesses would be? I mean, that's one of the concerns people have before getting into green businesses generally. So
one is that I think it's extremely crucial and important for us as individuals to determine where we want to allocate our savings and what that we want to invest in. And if I truly believe that, patterns of consumption need to change for the better, have to become more earth friendly, have to become more health friendly, then I have to start putting my money where my heart is, which is why I invest in these businesses. I know a majority of them are struggling. It's very, very, very hard because we don't even have the support system that is required for these businesses to thrive. I wish they had more financial support. I wish they, had some kind of tax benefits or some kind of, incentives that will help them continue doing what they are. We are honestly as conscious citizens waiting for big companies, MNCs, to demonstrate the conscience that these smaller independent organizations and companies are demonstrating.
Thank you, Dia Mirza, for sharing your thoughts about important development issues and the way forward.
Thank you so much.
You just heard the famous actress come activist Dia Mirza talk about the SDGs and the climate action and how the development agenda can be advanced in India and abroad.
We hope you like this program. This program is also live streamed on All India Radio and aired on community radio stations. We look forward to your feedback on our WhatsApp number 9818120554. For participation in this program, write to us at sustainability.karma@gmail.com. You may also connect with us on social media. This podcast is also available on podcast hosting sites. Looking forward to meet you again at the same time next week with a new episode and a new guest. Till then, goodbye from all of us. Sustainability Karma, a podcast series with senior journalist and editor Rajiv Tikoo on sustainable development, sustainability and ESG.